J.P. Morgan Chase and the London Whale Incident, presented by Derek Heitzman, Chris Bafis, and Albert Hanjayan. J.P. Morgan Chase and Company were founded in 2000, but its legacy dates back to 1799. It is one of the oldest, largest, and well-known financial institutions in the world. This multi-billion-dollar industry is operated by Jamie Dimon, who is also chairman and president. With total assets of $2.5 trillion, operations in more than 60 countries, and employment of more than 260,000 employees, JP Morgan Chase serves millions of consumers, small businesses, and many of the world's most recognized institutional and government clients. They specialize in credit cards, finance and insurance, investment banking, mortgage loans, consumer banking, corporate banking, private equity, and wealth management. A credit default swap, better known as a CDS, is a swap designed to transfer the credit exposure of fixed income products between parties. A CDS is also known as a credit derivative contract. This is where the purchaser of the swap makes payments up until the maturity date of a contract. These payments are made to the seller of the swap, and in return, the seller agrees to pay off a third-party debt if this party defaults on the loan. Both buyer and seller of credit protection take on counterparty risk, also known as a default risk, when entering into a credit default swap. Credit default swaps are used by investors for speculation, hedging, and arbitrage purposes. These can be very risky at times, and loss can result in greater than normal. For instance, in the London Whale Incident, $7 billion was lost. My colleague now will touch more on that.
Next, we look at the London Whale Incident and what they did. In February 2012, hedge fund insiders such as Boz Weinstein became aware that the market in credit default swaps was possibly being affected by aggressive trading activities. The source of this unusual activity was Bruno Ixel, a trader of JP Morgan Chase & Company, referred to as the London Whale, in reference to the huge positions he was taking within the credit default market. Heavy opposing bets to his positions are known to have been made by traders, including another branch of JP Morgan, who purchased the derivatives JP Morgan was selling in such high volume. This resulted in major losses to the company of JP Morgan. They lost more than $6 billion on the riskiness of the transactions that Bruno was making. The people who were affected by this loss were shareholder money. The only reason depositors did not lose money is because there was no run on the bank by depositors at the same time the London Whale was being harpooned. If this had been the case, surely depositors would have been left with some heavy losses. Next, we look at how the London Whale Incident violated ethics. We can look at 4 principles of the Code of Ethics: acting consistently as well as rationally in decision making, assisting others in making rational choices, respecting all others' needs and differences each person possesses, and the most important, acting out of goodwill. In relation to the JP Morgan incident, Ixel's risky trading violated all 4 of these basic principles. Ixel's was most definitely acting irrationally when looking to maximize profits off of deals that had a high likelihood of failure. In turn, his actions left others in a position where they were unable to make rational decisions themselves. In other words, JP Morgan's actions did not encourage rational decision making, but instead prohibited it. Additionally, the company obviously did not respect the needs of others, instead choosing to focus on the needs and desires of a few top traders, especially Ixel. Finally, there was absolutely no evidence of Ixel and JP Morgan acting out of goodwill, as the decisions to take part in risky trades were far from doing what was right. Even if the trades had gone well, the ends would not have justified the means whatsoever. This also relates back to the formula of humanity, which Ixel's deceit and greed clearly violates. His risky trading attempted to use the ends to justify the means, and even had he succeeded, would not have been acting humanly. Therefore, as you can see, JP Morgan and Company was clearly violating ethics.
This slide shows what consequences were brought upon JP Morgan Chase after the London Whale incident. One was the Federal Reserve Board on Monday issued 2 consent, cease, and desist orders against JP Morgan Chase & Co. The first order requires JPMC to take corrective action to continue ongoing enhancement to its risk management program and its finance and internal audit functions. The second order requires JPMC to take corrective action to enhance its program for compliance with the Bank Secrecy Act and other anti-money laundering requirements at JPMC's various subsidiaries. Next, JP Morgan Chase cut Jamie Dimon's bonus 50% to $10.5 million in restricted stock units. The bank also had to cut millions of dollars of bonuses to traders who helped cause the losses. The last effect was that JP Morgan Chase recorded their 3rd straight year of record profits, showing that the London Whale incident was manageable in financial terms.